in terms of, framing the ultimate buyer's guide, I think it's helpful for people to understand, what if you just went through your process? And a challenge that I see a lot of people think about with their customers and their process of working with a customer, it's so long-winded. It's like, we have, this call, and then we go back and we do this as a team, and then we have this meeting with you, and then we get drawings done, and oh yeah, we also got the measurements done before that, and then we go and we meet with the designer, and then we have to go and order materials, and we wait on the materials, and then we do an inventory check. I mean, all these different steps that go along in the process. And that's a good thing. Like, you should have a very clear outline of what your process is from start to finish of working with a customer. But for the customer's sake, it needs to be a little bit more simplified. And so I think one of the great things that you can do inside of the Ultimate Buyer's Guide is go through that entire process, that long-winded, super detailed, step by step by step process. Maybe it's 10 steps, maybe it's 50 steps. Who knows how long you're doing it internally. Go through that, but then start to segment those steps into you'll treat those as sub steps, and have 3 to 4 major steps. And those are typically like, customer gives us a call or fills out a form. We have a design meeting. We get to work on building it, or we get to work on installing it.
You deliver drawings for approval.
Yeah, something like that. And then you're ready to go. And so you have those major steps that if I'm a customer, I can look at that 3 or 4 step process and be like, oh, wow, it's so easy. And then you can go through on your Ultimate Buyer's Guide and you can detail, hey, in step 1 of us having this meeting, here's everything that's actually going to be happening on the back end and what it actually looks like with all of these sub steps. And then in your Ultimate Buyer's Guide, we said this is a living, breathing document, but it's also an extensive document. It aims to be comprehensive, although it is continually being added to and revised. But this should be whenever it's said and done, it could be easily a 50 to 100 page document, PDF that someone looks through. Obviously you can have shorter versions, and we'll get to that later, but going through, you should have a full overview page of what the 4 major steps are, that then maybe lists some of the sub steps. And then you should have a step or a page for each major step with all the sub steps, and then a page for each sub step itself that then details everything that's going on during that stage of the process, and then frequently asked questions for each sub step. And if you just even have that done, of the entire process of working with us, that's a really detailed document that's going to answer so many of the questions that your customers throw at you, and give them a peace of mind of understanding truly what it looks like to work with you. And then if you send that to everybody inside your company or a new employee, they're going to have a really good idea of what it's like to work at your company as well. And I don't think there's enough people that have just that process document in place. What do you think?
Well, no, there are not. They're very rare. I'm thinking while you're talking there, when I talk to people about systems, people say, well, how can I systemize that? It's all in my head. And say, well, you, Mr. or Mrs. Owner, are going through a process, and you've done it hundreds of times, likely. Just think through what it is I'm doing here, and bullet point it and get it down on paper and tell people about it. It's a benefit to your customer because they see what the process is. It's a benefit to the people who work for you because they understand what's expected of them. If you're promising one thing and your crew's delivering something else. But the benefit of this, I think, is education. And again, it makes you the pro. We talked about that when we talked about blogging. Makes you the authority and the pro, and you've laid it all out for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's something that is in your head typically as the business owner or the leader or manager of your company. And it exists. There's a process in place, whether you've been intentional about it or not. And going through this process will even make you more intentional about the steps and subsets that are existing inside your company and working with you. And when you have it written down, it allows you to actually make revisions and be intentional about making it the best process possible. And there's so many companies out there that their process is their secret sauce. It is their unique value proposition that separates them from everybody in the industry because they've honed it so well. It's streamlined, it's efficient, a well-oiled machine that will just do it is the magic for them. And so if you are able to go through that with your company, maybe that can become one of your differentiators as well.